Souls RNG has had a few limited globals throughout its game, and in this video I will explain the history of every limited global from the very first one to the recent ones we have right now. Starting all the way back in Era 6, we had the first April Fool's event where the first global was introduced as a limited aura, and that global was Impeach, which was a mutation to Impeach and was double the rarity of it being a 1 in 400 million chance of rolling. This is also considered one of, if not the rarest aura in the entire game, as you only had 3 weeks to have a chance of rolling it. We wouldn't have another event until Era 8.5, which introduced a summer event. That's when we got the second ever limited global in the game. It was called Shard Server, which was a lot easier to get at a 1 in 225 million or a 1 in 75 million chance to roll in a snowy biome. And with how many heavenly potions players were getting during Era 8, it gave a lot of players a chance of getting Shard Server. I was not one of those players. Anyways, we wouldn't have another limited global until December 1st when we got the Halloween event. But this time there wasn't just one, but 3 limited globals added for this event. Nightmare Sky was the lowest rarity at a 1 in 190 million chance of rolling in a pumpkin moon biome, which most players got during this event, not including me. Harvester was the second highest at a 666 million chance of rolling in a graveyard biome. Making this one of the most difficult limited globals to roll. And finally, we have Apostle's Veil at a 1 in 800 million chance of rolling in a graveyard biome, which hardly anyone managed to roll. A lot of players say that rolling Harvester or Apostle's Veil was rarer than rolling Oblivion. And just like every limited global, you were able to roll them in a glitch biome, but it was still really rare to roll either way. After the Halloween event ended, we got the 2025 Christmas event. In this event, we got 2 globals being abominable at a 1 in 120 million or a 1 in 40 million chance of rolling in a snowy biome, and Alice Yuletide at a 1 in 510 million or a 1 in 170 million chance of rolling in a snowy biome. These auras were really well made, but the only thing that ruined these auras were the wheels added to the event, which gave you a chance to roll any of the Christmas auras, including the globals. You only had a 0.05% chance to get abominable or Alice Yuletide from the wheels. That might sound hard to get, but for someone who has never rolled any of them normally, yet I have 7 Yuletides and 19 abominables, you can see why the wheel ruined the hype for these globals. The next event we had was the 2025 April Fool's event that introduced one limited global to the game. The global was Glock of the Sky at a 1 in 170 million chance of rolling, which sounds pretty easy to get until you realize this event only lasted 10 days, making this the shortest Souls RNG event in history. It was a pretty basic event, so I'm glad that it didn't last too long, but I will say Glock of the Sky has such a good cutscene. 3 months later, we had the 2025 summer event where 2 limited globals were added. The first being Manta at a 1 in 300 million or a 1 in 150 million chance of rolling in a blazing sun biome, and the second being Aegis Watergun at a 1 in 825 million or a 412,500,000 chance of rolling in a blazing sun biome, meaning that Impeach is the oldest limited global, Aegis Watergun is the highest stat-wise limited global as of right now, and Apostle's Veil is technically the rarest limited global as of right now. I was gonna make a video about every limited aura in the game, but let's be honest, there's only like a certain amount of like limited globals people care about, and realistically, like, no one's really gonna give a shit about the other ones.